So doctor, I have one question, which is when you break down your society, if you look at it as a pyramid, okay, what you have been talking all along is really I call it the bottom of the pyramid, which is the kids who you need to change, and that takes a generational change to happen, right? Uh, I believe there is a here and now problem, okay, where there are people who are parents today, who are at jobs, okay, who are who cannot learn because they have been trained in a certain way, okay. Then there is this biggest problem of technology changes, skill changes, unable to adapt. And I believe there is a very, very large societal problem that's staring at our face in the what I call as the fat middle, right? So when I look at people in the middle age, okay, I'm neither able to be a master at what I have done in the past. I'm kind of chugging along, okay. I'm losing my job, okay, and I'm actually then creating the problem for the next generation, okay. So how do you think? I don't see many people solving this problem, because either they say, I'm actually looking at elder care, I'm looking at kids, but here is this middle that's actually creating problem for both ends of the society, right? Because actually there are a million IT professionals, okay, who probably never were fired in their life. They did not have the mental tenacity to ever think that their jobs will constantly give them incremental appraisals year after year, and suddenly you are realizing that, oh, I don't even have a job now. And actually you are not even competent to have that job in the first place because you are overpaid anyway, okay. So the mental tenacity is actually something that is missing. The competency is missing, and they have never learned, and therefore that's a huge problem that we are facing. And is there a way to address this from a education point of view, from a retraining point of view, from a reskilling point of view, and is that something that a social enterprise needs to look at?
I think great question. And I think I'm a big believer in the power of positive reinforcement, which means if you help people to succeed, if you give them small wins, those small wins will gradually become big wins over a period of time. Instead of telling people, this is what you need to master, you need to start off with where they are. And I think that's the beauty about, let's say, computer based learning, because it doesn't assume anything. It doesn't put 50 people in a classroom and they know that not everyone's going to be able to learn at the same pace. Everyone is a different kind of learner. Some of us are visual learners, some of us are auditory, some of us are kinesthetic, whatever else it is. The beauty about technology is it allows us to adapt the learning style to what the learner wants to learn. You're not all forced going to be able to do one thing in a particular way. I think it's got to be more a sense of you've already succeeded in so many things. You can continue succeeding in so many other things. If we take that can do approach, if we change instead of, I think a big problem is our society is much better at creating losers than at creating winners. And I think that's part of the problem. And that's part of the problem the moment you have a pyramid kind of system, which actually makes no sense. Because then, by definition, you're consigning people. If nothing else, forget about how the rest of the world sees them. I don't think that's important. It's how they see themselves.
Yeah.
And if you perceive yourself as a loser, I think it's very hard for you to make anything out of your life. And therefore, you need small wins. You need to be able to show them, of course you can do this. You don't need to master all of it at one shot. Do a little bit, that'll work, do a little bit more. And gradually, I think as your self confidence increases. And the reality is, all of us are learners and all of us are teachers. Your kid is teaching you all the time. If nothing else, your kid is teaching you patience about what to do when your kid refuses to eat, or what to do when your kid wakes up at 3 o'clock in the morning and refuses to go back to sleep. So all of us are students, all of us are teachers. And I think if we learn to respect each other, there's something to be learned from everyone. Learning doesn't occur just in a classroom set. And I think that's really the beauty about the internet, is that you're no longer restricted to whatever your teacher chooses to teach you. You can find the world's best teachers online. You can learn in whatever you want to. And I honestly think that's really the magic. Which means if you then have this new generation of students who are self-learners, who've learned for themselves. What's the biggest problem in school today? Everyone is passive. ये परीक्षा में आने वाला है कि नहीं? Is this going to come for the exam? If it's not going to come for the exam, then why do I need to know? So I'm not going to study that. If it's going to come for the exam, then let me look at the last 10 years exam papers. And if I can crack these, then I know I'm going to do well in an exam, all of which is fine. I think that's a very clever way of gaming the system, and you should game the system. It's a stupid system. It deserves to be gamed because all you want to do is to get more marks. Go ahead and do that. But then also learn how to learn. And I think that's often a skill which is not being taught very well. And I think it's perfectly okay. It's very free flowing, it's very haphazard, it's very random. There is no royal road to learning. You go down one path, you go down a second path. You learn from a book, you learn from a video, you learn from a friend, you learn from a bad experience in life. All of this is actually just part of a learning. And I think it makes no sense that we silo it. And I think if you then give kids that confidence that you're capable of learning anything and everything, you've already learned so much, and there is nothing which you're not. If you can give kids that confidence, what does our exam system do? It creates losers. It effectively tells someone, only one person can come first, and all the other 99 are never going to be able to come first. I think that's such a broken system. You need to be able to change that around. You need to be able to say, you know what, this is what we needed to test you on, and you managed to do it. Congratulations. And there's lots more which you can do, and you can define. And that's the great thing about computer technology. You can define learning pathways which are customized for each individual kid, each individual adult, each individual, whoever wants to be able to learn some of that stuff. So I don't think we need to operate from a position of constraints anymore. I think we need to operate from a position of, you want to learn this? There is no shortage of stuff you can learn from. You can start your learning journey by doing this. Your next steps are this, your next steps are that, and then follow it. And you get bored, get off that learning pathway. If it's not fascinating or interesting, maybe come back to it 2 years from now, or maybe just leave it and learn something else. Whatever you've learned will never get wasted. Trust me about this. But you need to carve out your own path. And if you're not interested in learning something, you'll never do a good job learning it. No matter what, someone will force you. Maybe you'll pass the exam, maybe you'll still get that A grade, but that's not stuff which is, organically going to stick. And I think what we really need to create are self-directed learners, learners who have the confidence in their learning skills, learners who have the confidence in being able to find the teachers. Now, those teachers could be in the real world, those teachers could be online, those teachers could be your peers. That's happening all the time. All of us are wired to learn. That's the way your brain is designed, very honestly.